Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are checking out some PvP happening here on SSS1-15, comprised of our kingdoms that we have for this group, 51, 52, 53, and 54. We got DoA going up against RIP, and a little bit of some acciones that's been happening. I think I started recording this a few minutes late, potentially, is what I believe. We got RIP summoning that giant there. We got Milan there on the Beastmaster. Ooh, going right in there for all this massive damage on the flag. Oh, man, interesting. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some good AoE damage. Doesn't look like there's a lot of people that are paying attention to the attacks that are coming down. Hopefully Milan's going to be able to get some good hits here, which is arguably just free damage, right? I mean, you can already see some of the units taking quite a bit. We've had about 3 or 4 that have left so far. Ooh, man, big stomp there. Ooh, I like that proactive tier of Arbin being thrown down from some of the other open field marches, knowing that those units, if the players are not paying attention, they'll at least be able to get a little bit of some healing off. So Giant running down, trying to pull them away. This is really the opportunity for Rip on needing to engage a bit more here, right? This to me is a little bit of a kind of a, I don't want to say a huge letdown, but this is where you're keeping your spread and establishing your line, and then as the Giant's going in, you should be coming in when the Giant is hitting, right? So in this case, we need to be seeing focus firing on the open field legions, not the ones that are building, right? Giant is doing his, I mean, this guy is doing his job right now, right? I actually really like how this Beastmaster is playing out the Giant usage right now. This is where all these units here from Rip need to be pushing in, focus firing the open field marches down one by one, not touching the builders, right? Remember, Giant is doing what Beastmaster should be doing, right? Malone really is playing, or Milani, depending on how I pronunciate that, is playing this, I think, very well, right? He's tanking, he's aggroing the attention from the opponents, and this is where Rip really, in my opinion, needs to be pushing up a lot more and playing a little bit more aggressively here. Look how far away they are really from the action. Sure, are they killing some units and probably doing a little bit more damage than DoA is on them? Yeah. But it's in very small kind of consolidated bunches, right? This is where, again, let the Giant do his work. Start attacking the groups and the, I don't want to say condension, but essentially the overlapping, right? You're trying to go after the kind of hived pairings for legions that are bunched up in kind of small batches, attacking those, hitting the overextending legions as well, and just really trying to do a little bit more damage, right, than they're doing right now. It is unfortunate because, again, they're focusing the Giant down, which is great, but that's because Rip is so far back. If they were closer here and applying pressure when Malone was already at full health, that would have been better. However, on the flip side, DoA is actually doing what they probably should be doing really from the get-go, right? Which is, let's focus fire down the Giant. And you can see really good organization here from them. You can see a lot of the units moving in unison. Majority of the players here are focusing the Giant down, which is good, but Rip just playing this too passively, right? This is where you go in. We're not saying go in through the units, but going in a little bit more, applying pressure so you can start attacking, utilizing that AoE, focusing on the open field marches so you're reducing the amount of damage that's being done on the Giant, therefore allowing the Giant to sustain more, tank more, and aggro more, which is really what the whole point of you summoning the Beastmaster is, or the Behemoth in that case, right, which is to cause some form of disruption. And again, Beastmaster did that great, but the players really just weren't there, unfortunately, to be as close as they needed to really start kind of discombobulating even more. So that was a little unfortunate to see because they were in a good position to do well, right? Where there was some advantages, and I would have loved to seen how that could have played out differently, right? If that did happen. So a little bit of back and forth here on the builds. Let's see, because I know someone pinged me. I got to give a shout out to who pinged me on this too as well. I think it was Ahmed Ald. Got to give a shout out there to Ahmed Ald, who was kind enough to shoot me a ping, which is interesting about being in SSS1-15 because the fighting in Nivola is happening. It doesn't, I guess, seem as though there's probably really any fighting that's going to be happening in Zone 3 from that. I don't think there's any consistent building that's happening right now. Let's see. Nope. Nothing at the moment. E&D's already at Dragon. They've already built out that way as well. No other flags are coming from the north. Which is slaughtered by 20th hour. Oh, I see. So there was an RIP E&D pass. Which, let's see here. Oh, I wonder if there's... Oh, there's not. I don't think there's any attacking here going on. Nope. All right. Yeah, so it looks like at least thus far everything is being pushed out to Nivola then? Who's this? So this is RIP. And then it's DoA. Oh, I see. So DoA is over here. And then you got RIP. Oh, I see. So they basically probably, got pushed out of Zone 3, then Lorcan. And now they're kind of back here. So you got DoA. DoA, is that one? Oh, I see. So they probably started Darlin then, and they're just kind of getting pushed at this point. Okay. Little bit of back and forth. I mean, again, RIP has good attendance here. Man, this isn't bad at all. You know, maybe DoA, I don't know. The numbers look really close to me right now. DoA got 34 minutes left on that build. I'm not sure. Part of me feels like RIP may be playing this a little too passively. The way I view it is like this. If you didn't necessarily push with the Behemoth, which would have been a great opportunity, in my opinion, to do so, right? To see what you can get out of it. The likelihood that you're going to push when you don't have a Behemoth to summon can probably be a little more challenging on that front. This is actually kind of cool to see. I'm not against this right now, right? DoA kind of testing a bit, pushing in with a small group, just trying to see maybe what they can get out of it. Ooh, this seems a little bit overextending, though, right now. That's Cyclone Blade doing a lot of AoE damage. You can see the blue blades twirling right there. Multiple negative purple damage, looking like up to 4 that it was able to hit. That Terrifying Inferno. Ooh, that Burst Strike for just massive negative damage there on the clumps there from DoA. Again, Shadow Games being thrown down, up to 3 that were being hit there. Big negative purples, 10k plus damage. That is the type of artifact hits. Another Shadow Game is being thrown down, right? Hitting up to 3 players, right? That's really what you're looking for. Time Bomb getting thrown down, double Time Bomb coming down too as well. You can see both of those clocks running there on those frontline infantry Madeleines that we have there for Supreme, and then Remus, right, hitting those up to, I think, 1 other, maybe not full up to 3, but at least getting some AoE. You can see 2 more getting thrown down there. Counter Time Bombs now coming out from DoA over there onto RIP. That Earth and Judgment, that Vicious Strike. You can see the big arrows going down. Ooh, that counter Shadow Games. That was sick right there. Just hitting massive. Oh, wow. We're getting a flank there. Now you have some of the... Oh, wow. Oh, no. Unless that was Ragnar who maybe came in and did that there from DoA, who could have been running that. I don't know if I see another DoA player here that's kind of in the mix. Sometimes it's hard to kind of make it out when there's just so many units that are overlaying. Another Cyclone Blade there. Man, I'm really curious what people think about Cyclone Blade. I mean, this is the most I think I've seen it being used so far. Oh gosh, that Royal Punishment there for that negative 10.6k damage by Floor. Man, that is always nice to see on that big single target DPS, or actually not even DPS, but the single target bulk damage, I guess, is probably a better way to really categorize it. DoA now just coming in, getting a little mosh pit here going off RIP. Now, in RIP's case, right, this is just a little bit too clustered, right? This is where you're just going to take a lot of unnecessary AoE damage. DoA, kind of same thing, hurting a little bit too much here. They do have a small group on this side. However, in this case, right, spreading yourselves out, right, recognizing that you somewhat have an advantage because they're fighting on your territory, they're moving a little bit slower. This is where you're spreading out in that type of straight line, or you're kind of arcing it and curving a bit, and then you're looking to identify the units that you can kind of single out. Right here, this is a nice group that you can single out, and then if you have like a northern force, or you know, if you have like a northern group maybe of 6-10 units, you can kind of focus fire some of the overextending ones here. But this is really good. I mean, this is kind of what you should be wanting to do here with your group, is when they're fleeing, right, you're attacking the ones that are kind of farthest back. You're kind of picking them off one-on-one or one by one, right? That's an ideal way to play this one out. However, spreading yourselves out as much as possible, so like we often talk about, you're reducing the amount of AoE damage that's being done to you, and then this way you're able to inflict as much AoE damage on your opponents because of the fact that you're spreading out. So you're going to take less, do more, right? That's what we're really talking about. DoA, though, still going unimpeded on this build. We got 29 minutes left on that. Now Rip could be feeling a little momentum here. So, again, we're going to see. I mean, this is the thing, man. You still got plenty of units that are up here, back here. I mean, these units should be in the fight, right? Oh, wow, that Royal Punishment there by Cersei. Gosh, that was intense there, hitting up to 4, about 10k damage plus minus there. Other units, that was massive, right? Doing what? Maybe 40, a little more than 40k damage altogether. That was a nice hit. Not going to lie. Always got to love it. Oh, let's see. Are we getting a little bit of lag here? Because I know I didn't see the artifact names for the ones that just got hit. Oops. Hang on, let's zoom it out a little bit. No! There we go. That Royal Punishment, Thunder Shadow. There we go. See, this is where we want to be. This is like the farthest maxed out zoom that I've been able to get to thus far. So, again, it's good enough. But, you know, one of the things you also hear me often mention is I'd love for us to be able to maybe zoom out 1 or 2 more clicks. And then, right, being able to still see what's happening in the field, just because oftentimes there's things that are happening south of the screen, right, based on the kind of window they could be happening north of the screen, things we're just missing or we don't have the opportunity to see. As much as I always tell people, right, I love watching as much PvP as humanly possible. So for me, just being able to get in, watch, enjoy, talk about it, you know, look at the pushes that are happening, if they're going all in, the Behemoth summons, the back and forth, any type of on-field tactical and strategic coordination that's happening between the alliances, especially things that we can notice. Very similar to what we were talking about earlier in the video when the Behemoth was summoned, and you saw a lot of the DoA players that were kind of moving in unison to hunt or / finish off by focus firing down the Behemoth, right? Those are things that you can either surmise that you have quite a few of those players in voice, or if they're just appropriately following markers, right? And you have just kind of a good... Whew, man, these are coming out strong today. Or if you have just a good level of, I don't want to say discipline, almost feels like it's too strong. I would say a belief, right? Let's say that. You have a belief for the average player that, okay, hey, if I go and I do what this marker is telling me, or if they're providing some updated directions, right, this is going to be important for me to do. Right? That's kind of the idea there behind that one. See, now, as an example, in this case, I would take these units, push them down here, right? And then I would just start pushing out, but just play the poke game, right? Like push up, attack this player. If you don't get any action, then you go and you would try to attack the next closest farthest player, right? Which is the honey buddy or recursive, right? I mean, again, you have numbers here, unless you're waiting specifically. Oh, wow, look at that. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, this is why zooming out is nice, because we could see other things that are happening without having to move around the map as much. But look, dude, Drunk going and flanking looks like was trying to maybe hit some of the supply lines. Not a bad idea overall. Let's see here. Solos up here. Got some DOC guys. It doesn't really look like we got a lot of action outside of the kind of spurts here and there, but I don't know why DOC isn't trying to flag build as well, just to maybe take some focus off of the Southern Alliance. So I guess I'll have to see. It's not bad though, but yeah, would really love to see some of those things. being done overall. Like I said, I think there's some good opportunity. It's just a matter of right, because when you think about it, that's kind of what it really comes down to in the end, right? Is that you're thinking about if you're going head to head, right, in the open field, similar to what RIP and DoA is, right? And you can make the argument. Oftentimes, it's really going to come down to, and I'm not saying that that's really the case right now as far as where the current meta for COD is, but eventually, I truly believe it's going to come down to who's more disciplined, who's more organized, who's more coordinated, who's able to apply kind of better overall on-field tactics, and then, right, who has really good kind of high consistency across their alliance and its players, right, for multiple engagements. Always feels good when we bust one of those out. What are we at here? We're at about 15, almost 16 minutes. So I don't know how much more action we're going to be getting here. Probably will get some in a bit. But given that there doesn't seem to be this type of like trending direction of continuous fighting, right? I mean, again, maybe they'll get something here in a minute. We'll hang out maybe another 60 seconds just to see if DoA pushing up, if they start, for example, kind of removing barricades, maybe RIP will decide, okay, hey, let's go down there and maybe start something else. So I'll give another, 45 seconds here. We'll just see if anything else is going to pop off. And if it doesn't, then we'll go ahead and close it out. But again, I mean, I like watching the back and forths. Always something that I enjoy when it comes to COD PvP. And I have no doubt in my mind that we're eventually going to get to a point where the level, right, the overall level, the standard is going to be somewhere kind of around that. I don't want to say quality in an unintended way or in an ill-intended way, I should say, but I do believe that, let's just say we'll get to a higher level, right, of the quality of PvP as more time goes on. Because I think one of the things that I absolutely love about COD is the ceiling that I believe the game has, right? The potential of us being able to really incorporate more of the traditional RTS, right? I often refer to games like StarCraft 2, Age of Empires, Command & Conquer, etc. And then something like a Rome Total War, right? Is kind of where you're really looking at something like COD in its scope of what we can see transpire and play out, right, on the battlefield. And part of what we often see, at least thus far, and that's not by every single alliance and not by every single kingdom, but what we are often seeing is that type of kind of murder ball mosh pit, like Rise of Kingdoms mentality. And I'm sure other kingdom builders do it as well, where it's, let's just all get together, let's just fight each other head on and just, see how it plays out essentially. And though that is one strategy, I would like to believe that that is the lesser of the current available strategies due to the ceiling of true skill and overall quality of PvP that Call of Dragons has available to its players and alliances and kingdoms. And we've already seen moments of that, right? For a lot of the PvP that I've had the chance to cover and talk about. Ooh, wow, okay, maybe we're going to get something here happening from RIP right now as they're pushing down the ramp. But those are things that, I love being able to get little teases, right? Little appetizer tastes of what we can expect and the highlighting moments or the bright moments for me that we're able to see as we try and always look at as many kingdoms as possible. Where's my agua? Let's see here. All right, so RIP did come down. Well, I don't know if all of them did. Let's see here. Okay, so a few more coming down. Six just running around with that cav. Wondering if maybe the rest of DoA might end up pushing. Let's see how this bad boy plays out here. Again, would love for there to be a little bit more kind of spread up and down. Same thing here with DoA, right? It's just, it's funny. The analogy, or not the analogy, but the example I use is it's like if you've played soccer before and or you've watched soccer. and you and the goalie's kicking from, oh gosh, the small box, right, to put the ball back in play, and goalie is right, throws the ball out, takes his steps back, and what do you see from a lot of the midfielders and the forwards, right? You're kind of almost seeing them. It's like you have this entire field, right, but they're kind of all grouping in almost like a circular area that and again, and then you end up having the goalkeeper that kind of kicks into that, right? Instead of having all your players spread out, creating more space, which means that there's then a higher percentage chance that you're not that you may get the ball into your allies or your teammates' feet, because then you have less congestion that's happening, which just raises, right, the uncertainty level. And often when I think about how the fights in a lot of moments will start and or will kind of work its way into, is where you'll have this type of gravity that is almost pulling players into the direction of other players. And specifically your teammates. And that's kind of where you start getting the clumping. Also doing things like selecting all your units and then just kind of moving them all together. That's the obvious one, is where you end up seeing that. Okay, interesting. So let's see here. So, Ding-a-ling, just a little bit overextending in that case. And this is a good example. Like, you got players that are just sitting here, right? They should be here, right, pending they're online and active, as always. Even the, 10, 12 legions up there, same thing, right? It's like you have a big force, but you have about half of that force right now that's actually fighting, right, compared to kind of having everyone be engaged. There we go. That should help with my nasal passageways. So this actually isn't bad here from DoA, right? This is, I mean, not the most ideal, but spreading out a little bit. Top down from where Daddy Temmie's building is down here at about Honey Bunny. So again, right, you end up seeing a little bit of the spread. But here, it's kind of this, you can see here, right? It's kind of like a rectangle that you're seeing with just how the legions themselves are lining up. And just a little bit better to be spread. You know, again, having an idea on kind of who we're attacking, who we're focusing, and almost taking the approach of, right, anyone who does essentially overextend or just pushes out a little bit beyond, right, that's where we're going to go ahead and pounce. That terrifying Inferno there from Boggy getting thrown down there on Lemon King. Yeah, I imagine these are probably going to be small kind of one take or, one-off engagements, at least until we see kind of a full commit from one side or the other, at least at this point. But this is about okay. I mean, I don't know if we need to necessarily extend beyond that. Nice heads-up play, seeing that there was a transition there from 2 or 3 units on DoA that were pushing, right, where it would have put him at kind of a numbers disadvantage. So Sladko ended up pushing back. That was the right call there. Right, let me also give you a little pro tip here. When you spread out and you have players that are at the same kind of front line position, when your opponents overextend, you are able to start attacking and engaging those opponents faster than compared to, or when compared to, what you're kind of seeing now, which is if you have 2 or 3 units up front, and then you have a few units, the majority of your units behind those frontline units, and then you have someone that overextends from another side, those backline units have to walk farther, which takes more time for them to eventually get to an engagement point. Compared to if they were already on the front line, then the moment that someone overextends, now you're reducing the amount of time it takes for you to engage on that opponent, right? So these are really important things if you're trying to look at how can I do the most amount of damage and really take even more advantage of those legions that do overextend a bit here and there. Alrighty. Well, I don't know if we're going to end up getting anything that's happening. Looks like we're just kind of getting a little bit of a tease here. So I think what I'm probably going to end up doing is just closing this one out. Really wish that, and you know, watch my luck. The moment that I stop, they're going to go ahead and duke it out. But what I will say is, as always, man, thank you guys for tuning in. I would love to hear your thoughts. And again, just let me know, you know, I'm always a big fan of just being able to come and cover as many kingdoms and kind of PvP that's happening in the game. So as always, if there's any PvP that's happening in your kingdom, you can shoot me a DM on Discord. You can join the Discord server, react to our Call of Dragons section. There's a channel there specifically that's titled COD Wars Drama. And if anything's popping off, or if you know something might be popping off or starting soon, you're always more than welcome to either shoot me a DM or post in that channel. This one is going to do it for me. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Until next time, I will catch you later.